Today we go back to Indonesia. Hello and welcome to RotD Review of the Day, and today I am taking a look at the 2018 Indonesian horror movie, May the Devil Take You. I don't know why I had never, prior to making this channel back in July, ever come across an Indonesian horror movie. I love Asian horror movies. If you watch this channel, you know that. I had seen plenty from Japan, from Korea, Thailand, all over the place, but never one from Indonesia. And because of this channel, I have, I've now seen 3 in as many months. There was Satan's Slaves, then Third Eye, and now May the Devil Take You, directed by Timo Tjahjanto. Now, my takeaway from Indonesian horror in general is that it has a lot of the shared spirituality of other Asian horror films, but a very, very unique aesthetic visual style to it, and I dig it. It is definitely different. You can tell straight away if you watch 5 seconds of any one of the 3 Indonesian horror films that I have reviewed or am currently reviewing, 5 seconds of those, and you can tell that it is definitely not a typical or what I would have considered a typical Asian horror film. Just visually, just stylistically, aesthetically. As far as what I thought about May the Devil Take You, what I came away with on this one was that it was a very familiar, somewhat flawed storyline on the surface level that was saved by well-developed characters, very interesting visuals, and a depth to that surface level storyline that I wasn't expecting. But to get into more details, let's get into the categories. As always, 4 different categories, each one worth up to 25 points for a total possible score of 100 points. And the plot, I gave a 16 out of 25. This had to do with the main character of Alfie, played by Chelsea Islan, and she is estranged from her family, especially her father. Her mother had tragically passed, and so she has this step family that her father married into, but she hasn't spoken to any of them in quite a while. Now her father has fallen upon ill health, is now entering into a coma, and she is forced to not only interact with these people that she has been estranged from, but also, go to the family's townhouse and look for valuables, look for things that they can sell because his hospital bills are mounting up. And within that townhouse, within that grouping of characters, stuff starts to emerge, stuff starts to happen, and otherworldly, odd, vicious things start to occur around them, and they have to get to the bottom of it. Ultimately, what this was a fairly familiar storyline of selling one's soul for riches, that kind of thing, making deals with the devil. Again, not terribly new, but as they started investigating and going deeper and deeper into what had happened at that house, what had happened with their father, the more of the plot that they uncovered, the more depth I found in the storyline, and I liked it. I really did. And as far as the characters themselves, as they were written, were just fantastic. Alfie especially was a very strong character, with a lot of depth to her. Underneath her strength was a lot of pain, and underneath that pain was a lot of tragedy and guardedness. So I just really liked the layering of the characters, the layering of the storyline, the layering of the plot. So what was ordinarily not typically, this would have gotten far, far fewer points if it had been, if it had stayed surface level. But fortunately, it wound up having more depth to that, to both the plot and the characters. The intent, I gave a 15 out of 25. The scares in this one were somewhat sparse. Some landed, some didn't. There were definitely a lot of attempts. And the ones that landed, they landed pretty hard, and they were quite good. This movie also dragged pretty hard in the first half, but picked up a lot of good pacing in the second half. So what we wound up with was a somewhat scary movie that was moderately, had a moderate good tempo and good flow to it once it really started picking up. So overall, kind of on the plus side of average, 15 out of 25 there. The acting, I gave a 21 out of 25. This is where the movie really stood out for me. Great performances, I would say all around, but especially by the lead of Chelsea Islan as playing Alfie. Also her brother, her stepbrother, Samuel Raphael playing her stepbrother Ruben, did an amazing job with him as well. I was very, very impressed overall with the acting in this. It really elevated it. I'm not going to say saved it, just because it wasn't it wasn't threatening to be a dog. It just was. It was fairly superficial until the acting and the so forth brought depth to it, and they had a massive impact upon that. As far as the technical goes, I gave that a 19 out of 25. Some of the visuals worked and some didn't, but the ones that did were overall, I mean, they weren't just impressive, they were new. They were very fresh, very new. Visually, there were some effects on in this movie that I had never seen before, and that's saying something. They tried some things out here that worked spectacularly well. So although some things, I've seen that before a million times and I've seen it done better, there were some things that were just flat out darned impressive. So yeah, I gave it very, very strong standing of 19 out of 25 on the technical there, which gives us a total of 71 out of 100 points. I would absolutely recommend this movie. I don't think it was as good as Satan's Slaves. It was definitely better than Third Eye. Ultimately, this was absolutely one that was worth watching. I think that if somebody gives it a shot, they will definitely enjoy it. They will definitely be impressed by it. I know that I was. So that should about do it for May the Devil Take You. I thank you for joining me here today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.